Welcome. I'm so excited to have my first guests on the podcast. They are Nayeli, Nidia, and Nadia Hernandez, the amazing leaders behind the Latina owned publishing company Little Dreamers Publishing. So, without further ado, here are Nayeli, Nidia, and Nadia Hernandez.
Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for coming on to the Dalitalks podcast. I'm really excited because I found you on Instagram and I just love what you're doing with books and kids and just helping inform families. So let's see, since it's three of you, we have Nidia Hernandez, Nayeli, and Nadia Hernandez. Tell us about how did you get started? Which one of you came up with the idea?
Yes, so I'm Nadia Hernandez. I am the one who sort of started this project with my sisters with the pandemic and seeing the gaps in the educational system as well as the wealth gaps that were amplified during the pandemic. We saw that there was a need for bilingual books, bilingual workbooks, and bilingual children's books. And so we wanted to be part of this movement to be able to diversify the book industry. And given our backgrounds, I was a research associate for nonprofit organizations and also for university institutions that focused on improving the quality of early childhood education for children 0 to 5, and also improving the accessibility of programs such as STEM and similar programs to be able to benefit culturally and linguistically diverse communities here in the state of California. So just to tell you a little bit of my background, I have a bachelor's degree in anthropology and also a master's degree in anthropology, and taking those anthropological understandings of culture and my background in understanding the education system, I've used those tools to be able to help build this company. And I'll let my sisters introduce themselves so that you can see the background that we have and how we're using our educational background and our skill sets to be able to create books that will help our children be able to see themselves and to also help them educationally as they grow. Nadia, do you want to?
Yeah, and thank you so much for having us today. It's really great. Yeah, like you said, we stumbled upon each other. I think we saw your account in such an amazing platform, and I think part of what we want to do with Little Dreamers Publishing is to be able to provide parents with resources and tools. I know that's something in the Latino community we really want to emphasize. Like Nidia said, I think our backgrounds are really emphasize the approach that we want to take with our company. I work primarily with parents, so a lot of I work with different nonprofit organizations that really focus on parent engagement and teaching parents how to be the best advocates for their children. And so part of that work that we want to incorporate right back into our community, into our company, is to really empower parents, to educate parents on how they can, best guide their children through education. We focus on the early ages because we think it's such a pivotal moment, such a foundational moment for kids to be able to do well academically. Because at the end of the day, hopefully their education will help them. A lot of, immigrants or working families to be able to attain some of those other opportunities. And so, like Nidia said, we both went to San Diego State University. I got my bachelor's in political science and Chicano studies, and then my master's in applied anthropology. So I think all of those skill sets sort of helped us build our company. But yeah, we really want to do that. And then the three of us really have a focus as to what we really want to put forth in terms of the books and the materials. And I have two little girls, so that really inspires my perspective as to empowering little girls. And so one of the first things that I wanted to do with my first book is to really empower girls in the STEM field. we've seen that isn't seen as much, or not seen as much, but I feel like we're growing into that mindset where girls are allowed to be in that STEM, where it's, there are astronaut women, Latinas, especially Latinas, engineers, software engineers, they're computer engineers. And I think that Instagram or the world of social media has really shown light to some of these individuals that are doing amazing work. And so, yeah, I think that's really what my focus is in terms of what I want to, or my purpose in this company. So, yeah, we're really excited for the future.
I love that. And Nayeli.
Hi, good morning. Gracias por tenernos aquí, invitarnos. Yes, I'm Nayeli. I'm the oldest sister of the three of us. I do have a bachelor's degree in art education and my early childhood education certification. And I have 14 years in the field as an early childhood educator. So I work with little ones. I have experience working from prenatal to all the way to 5 years old. And a few years ago, I had the opportunity to work as a home educator, who gave me a lot of experience to working one-on-one with parents. And that's the experience that I want to bring to the company, helping our bilingual community, closing those gaps. Because as a home educator, I realized that there's not a lot of bilingual materials, especially for those parents that are only Spanish speakers. And my questions like, how do I help these parents? I find myself using English books and translating them to the parents as I was reading to the children. So that's the thing that is very important, and that's what I want to advocate to our community. Have those bilingual resources to help our community. That's the experience that I bring to the company, and I'm very excited to be part of this journey, and also to support a lot of the teachers. I know as a teacher, I also have a lot of, there's a lack of materials that are bilingual. Like I had the opportunity to read Nadia's book in my classroom. So it was very, very fun. And I got to see the girls be very excited that they see girl astronauts in a book. And I motivated them. You could be anything you want in life. You could be an astronaut. You could be the president. You can be a lawyer. You can be a doctor. So I'm very proud of my sister Nadia writing this book, and the storyline is a beautiful story that even a coworker complimented the book, saying, "Oh, this is a wonderful story. It's so cute." Give me the title and the name. I was like, "Oh, this is the name and this is the author." It's like, "Oh, yes, my sister's the author." So she was very impressed, and she really loved the story. So she was gonna purchase the book. So I'm happy that we're in this journey, more inspiring teachers and our community.
Ladies, I am blown away. First of all, I just realized all three of you are sisters. And I love that. I love that. I don't think I have seen a Latina owned business by three Latinas poderosas, educated Latinas. And that makes me so excited, because my kids have yet another set of women to look up to. And in each of you, I can feel your passion, and I appreciate that so much, because, hay mucha gente de que se mete a esto, a el otro, but it's because that's the trend in the family, or because it makes that much money, or for the prestige. But I can sense that you all have heart for what you're doing. And you probably saw my reaction when I think it was Nadia, that you have a poli-sci and a Chicano studies degree. I'm like, woohoo, because I'm a liberal arts. Mine is in women and gender studies with a concentration of social policy and leadership. So
perfect.
Yeah, it crosses over, and I got to get a little taste of your field. And I'm such a nerd. I'm over here all geeking out over it.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. I think it's amazing how your experiences and what you study really shape how you become as a professional. So I think we want to try to incorporate all of that. And especially as immigrant families, we came here when we were 6 years old from Mexico, and my parents not knowing English. I think that really motivates us, because we always see our parents and our students or our kids in us. And so it's how can we provide those same opportunities to them? So exactly. We're super excited.
Yeah. So then this is Nadia's book, right? You wrote it?
Yes. Yes,
It's
it's our
beautiful.
very first bilingual book. And as a Latino owned company, and as our as we were beginning, it was a process. We learned, we never intended to have a publishing company. It's sort of, I think we just went with the flow, and we started from the ground down and just learning along the way, researching a lot. Nidia really took that upon herself to learn how to create an LLC, how to trademark all of our name. And so it's been a process, but our first bilingual book, we're really excited. I think we really want to make sure that we make students that represent our children. Part of that is that I included both of my daughters in the book so that they can see themselves in it. Yeah, and it's wonderful when my daughter, my 6-year-old, she saw it. She was so excited because she saw herself in it. And she's learning how to read, or she learned how to read when she was 4.5, and so she's 6 now. And so when she got the book, hearing her read word by word the book, it was, as a mom, I think that's even a proud moment. But let alone that you wrote it. So we're really excited, and part of it is that we really want to focus on bilingualism, but we really wanted to focus on or showcase Spanish. So Spanish is always first, and then English is second, because I think that's what we want to promote too. For here in the United States, our little ones to not forget their language, to really embrace being bilingual, to love their language and their culture. I think a lot of that is missed when we start assimilating into this society. But we want to really emphasize the importance of just being bilingual and how beautiful it is. And so, I think all of us have been in that journey where we want to take our kids into that, become bilingual, which is, it's always not a perfect linear journey, but we're getting there, and we want to be able to provide those same tools for other families. And so I always say our materials are always approved by our kids. So if our kids loved it, we hope our other kids loved it. So we always have that in mind, that if our kids, we try to make meaningful products for our children, because I know that it'll hopefully benefit other kids. So
Yeah.
we were so excited to be creating more books. And Nayeli, she has her book coming out. We're working on it. We're working with an illustrator. She's an amazing illustrator from Oaxaca, from Mexico, from Oaxaca. And we're so thankful that, she came on board with our team, because it's, again, that empowerment, that female empowerment, that, we're all Mexicans, and that, we're all sort of going into this dream together. This is her first time illustrating this book. And so she did an amazing, and she put, a lot of thought and really meaningful illustrations in the book. And she even, she put in her own style and her own creativity. So we're really excited and see what else we come up with.
That is so exciting, Nayeli. I'm looking forward to that book. What is the book going to be about?
My book, as I have a degree in art education, my focus is motivating our community to love art. Like, art is connected to our oral development skills, language, motor skills, critical thinking, problem solving, cause and effect. So it will be an introduction about art, to love art, and how important art is in our community.
I love that, and I feel like it's super important, because people really dismiss art. They underestimate its power, and it's really sad, especially for the little ones, the early, oh my gosh, that has been so instrumental for my 2 kids. I mean, they're 14 and 15 now, but I don't know, because, they don't teach us, like, you should get rid of these old habits que nos enseñan en nuestros países. And I'm from Nicaragua, so, like, we have, like, similar traditions, but somehow, those of us first generation that come here, we observe, and then we notice the difference, and we walk in different spaces. And I think that that's why our parents kind of look at us like, ¿Qué estás haciendo? Like, why are you doing that? And then you're like, oh, but you're supposed to do this and this. And they're like, I don't get it. But sometimes they go with the flow, right? And then nos apoyan. And then eventually they start, grasping the concepts and everything. But what I also love is that what you said, Nadia, and the language. because that's one of the things as a parent that I feel like yo le fallé a mis hijas. They were doing so well at first, and then they started first grade, and at first grade alguien les dijo algo about speaking Spanish, and then suddenly they were like, oh no, I'm not going to speak it anymore. Y ahora de que son teens, now they're being called out and you called names like, oh, you're not Latina, you don't speak Spanish, you don't. So I look for those books when I introduce my my anti-bullying workshops or anything like that. I always use bilingual books. And let me tell you, when I first began, it was so hard. And that was only 5 years ago. It was so hard to find books that had a positive message, because I also talk about diversity, because when talking about bullying, you have to talk about diversity, because the number one reason people bully is because of people's differences. So you're actually doing me a favor by providing this bilingual book, because it's another one to add to my list. So there's a few things I'd like to also ask, because you said this is your very first, you didn't intentionally like think we're going to start a publishing company. It was just this little idea de este libro, right? And then you found out how to do the LLC, how to trademark and all of that. So will you be publishing only your books, or are you going to be opening it up to other authors?
Yes, we'll definitely have that that as a goal. Since we started a year ago, we are working towards building our company, creating the books first, establishing ourselves, and as we go and grow, we will be expanding, and we're hoping that we're able to provide that platform and that voice for other Latino, Latinx community members to be able to showcase their stories as storytellers, and also be able to provide that space for illustrators abroad in other countries as well as here in the United States, so that they can show their world. I think illustrators are really important because they show their world views, and I think with our book, bilingual books in general, illustrators are important. They showcase our culture. They showcase the importance of for example, for a book, it's a STEM book, but our illustrator is from Oaxaca, provided that cultural spark, that cultural understanding of STEM within that context. And so we also want to make sure that we provide that space for illustrators to be able to present stories with that cultural understanding. So we're excited to be able to expand.
Yeah, I love that. I'm looking forward to that. And Nayeli, would you consider your book a STEAM book?
Yes,
Yeah, definitely.
yes, definitely, because it's part of the art, mixing the colors, the cause and effect, what happens when you mix the red and the blue, critical thinking. So yes, definitely.
Would you please explain to our audience what STEAM is? Because surprisingly to me, people don't hear STEAM, they hear STEM all the time.
Right. Yes. So STEAM is, it encompasses art. It's science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And I think when you incorporate all of those elements, you get a well-rounded educational experience, because art does impact a lot of our areas. Is there anything you want to include, Nayeli and Nadia?
Oh, yeah, I think it's... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just wanted to say, especially in our community, I think art is so important because it ties a lot into like the social and emotional. I think part of what we want to focus, and especially with Nayeli's book, it's about a little boy who, with crayons, and just his journey about learning about the crayons and just the different aspects in his world that deal with crayons. And so it's a beautiful storyline, and I really can't wait for everybody to see it. But I think we really want to focus on that social, emotional, especially in our Latino community. It's so important, especially with the pandemic. We've seen how it affects kids, how, their coping mechanism was sort of disrupted because, the world around them it changed completely. And so that social emotional is important for them to do well academically. If they have a good environment, they have a healthy environment where they can learn, where they know how to cope with some of the feelings. And I mean, kids have feelings, but it's us parents showing them how to cope, how to, manage some of those stresses of life, how to be able to, calm themselves, how to be able to just deal with some of the stresses in everyday life and even at school so that they can do well academically. And that really ties into how they'll grow up, how they'll be able to, as professionals, deal with certain situations. And so that's really important as well, that we really want to tie into our company.
And just to add, I think with Spanish or bilingual books, there isn't a lot of bilingual books on STEAM. There's not a lot of books on there's not a lot of books on science, and specifically another focus that we have is financial literacy. That's an area where there's limited to no resources for little ones and for parents to be able to get that vocabulary, that information, so that they can thrive as they grow. So we are focusing on being able to create those books, focusing on STEAM, on culture, and also for financial literacy. We're excited for being able to expand and grow our company.
I love it. And I see that you're doing so much with it too. You have bilingual activities for children on your Instagram page. You have read along, you have the books, craft time. You have, what is the Explorando? Oh no, wait, that's a book. the YouTube channel. Tell us a little bit more about that. Who is it? Is it for the kids? Is it for the parents? And what can people expect when they go onto your channel?
Yeah. So, sorry, I can just give a brief explanation. With our books or just with any material, we really want to complement the learning. So with our first bilingual book, we wanted to complement it with like learning activities as well as a workbook that they can apply what they learned. And so Nayeli has really taken upon herself to be creative and use a lot of her knowledge about working with preschoolers and little ones to be able to amplify some of those learning activities. But yeah, Nayeli, can you can elaborate on that point?
Yes, so I'm very excited to start this project in YouTube to provide a lot of resources for our community, for parents, for teachers. As I'm demonstrating the projects and the activities, I'm also giving a little bit more information about the developmental skills, like using the brush, for using the grip of using the fingers, the movement. And language, art, as I said, art incorporates everything in our everyday, in our learning activity. So we have arts and crafts, where the arts and crafts are connected to our book, to financial literacy, and we want to continue building on those series. Like we want to continue building the series on money, learning about money, the name of the money, the quantity of money, and connected with learning about the stock market. As well with Nadia's book, we did a lot of arts and crafts activity, as well educational, how to guide parents in teaching their children the name of the books, how to put the planets in order. And we also have read aloud. Nadia did read her book, and there's more activities coming along that are connected to Nadia's book. So it's a little bit of everything that will help our community learning about child development, as well as STEM, financial literacy, and also about our celebrating our culture.
Mm-hmm. I must say, when I saw that about the stocks, I was so surprised because it's so rare to see that. And especially in Latino communities and Latino business owners, unless they're in the financial field, then, it's possible. But even then, for this age group, it is very rare. And I just love that. And I think that that's one of the things that sets you three apart. Because as we all know, if you start feeding children this idea, planting that seed, they're more likely to do something with it than not. And that's really powerful. I don't know if people really realize that, if they're going to be listening to this, they're like, oh, that's not a big deal, but that's a big, big deal. And I think that's what's powerful about the mission that you have, the idea, because your book, I saw a post that you did, and you're showing all the pictures of the book. And I'm looking at this and I was like, wow, the girls are brown. That is so cool, and it's about space. And now I'm seeing Latinas, brown people. Like, this is so, so cool. And I know a lot of people are like, it doesn't matter. You just, it's just playing with the race card. But no, representation really, really matters. It makes such a huge impact. So I hope that you're able to get these books out to as many libraries as possible. And I'll be your advocate. I'll be calling my local library and telling them, hey, you need to get this book in here, because that's the way that we help our community out. And that's how we help our entrepreneurs out. So do you have any activities aside from, actually, let me backtrack. Nayeli, when can we expect your book?
Our book it's in the progress. We're hoping that we launch the book maybe late March or early April, around that time.
This year?
Yes, of this year. So it's coming.
No, I don't have to wait that long.
No. Yes, we're very excited and to share with our community, to show the love of art, and to let our little ones explore and be creative as they are using their crayons or the paint to explore and to express themselves.
Oh, I love that. Okay, great. And so when the book launches, do you all do any type of special events in the community or virtually?
Yes, we do, because when Nadia's book came out, we were still in the phase of the pandemic. We did a lot of lives, Instagram lives. We promoted it there. We also did collaborations with other community members to be able to showcase our book through podcast lives. And we did a lot of events virtually to be able to showcase some of the activities that are connected to the book. And so we're hoping that as we get out of this pandemic, that we're able to have events, in-person events, to be able to showcase that. But for now, we're trying to just be patient with this transition.
Yeah, but I think just to add to that, when we with any book that we launch, we want to be able to provide fun activities for children. I think that's always our focus. How can we reach the most children that we can? So we do a lot with our YouTube. We do Nayeli, she does amazing work with activities. She's very creative in that way. So she'll always think what activities can we apply to the book. So she'll do that. And so part of the focus that we have is targeting parents, teachers, and children. For children, we always have free materials. We want to make it as accessible to them. We want to make activities that they can do at home. And so all of that information will always be free for them. And so we also want to target parents. And we have a new series coming up where it's all about parents and providing those tools and resources. And so we're really excited to begin that series. And we're excited to have Dalia as our very first guest, just to be able to talk about anti-bullying, because it's so important in our communities, and especially in our Latino community. And that's something that we don't have much context to or much resources on. So we're really excited to be able to connect with Dalia on that. And then for our teachers, that's something new that Nayeli is starting. I think she sees the importance of creating bilingual materials for teachers. And so she's working on creating a lot of, lesson plans and a lot of activities that they can incorporate into their classes. So we're really excited. We really want to make sure that we close those gaps in education, especially promote bilingualism, promote the importance of, that duality, and just making sure that our little ones have a good academic success, because it really, really shapes, how they'll do later on in school, that they know how to read, how to write, and how to do math. Those are the three essential things for our little ones to know early on, set those foundations for them to do well, because I think that'll motivate them to do good in school. It'll motivate them to read, to do well in math. I think when we establish those foundations, it helps children know why math is important later on. So all of those are key for us.
Yes, yeah. And definitely later on, we're hoping to be able to do readings at schools. We want to be able to, at preschools or elementary schools, be able to have that space to read bilingual books to little ones. So we're working on that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would be something exciting too for kids to see this type of book, the storyline. Wow. Well, and thank you so much for making me the first guest for your IG Live series. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, no,
So
thank you.
you're so welcome. So are there any last words that you would like to share with our audience?
We just want to thank you. We want to showcase the importance of having bilingual and having our communities have access to bilingual books on important topics. STEAM, and our culture as well as financial literacy are very important areas that lack books. And we want to be able to allow parents to have bilingual books where they make connections with Spanish and with children's as they learn both languages, to have connections, meaningful connections to the books, and be able to expand their vocabulary in both English and Spanish. And we hope that the books will also allow parents to be able to get an understanding of some of these concepts and learn as they go along, as they read the books with their children. So we're very hopeful that we are able to have that message across in our books.
Yeah, and just for me, I think parents are their kids' first teacher, and so I always say, parents, you have that beautiful connection with your kids. If you parent engagement is so important, it really makes an impact as to how kids will do later on in school. So if you're present, if you set that time for them to bond, just if you take 15 minutes out of the day to read books to them, I think that's all it takes. Be present, be their children's best advocates. Always look for resources for your kids. How can they grow up healthy? If they need additional resources, always look for them, because there's a lot of free resources available. And we really want to create those spaces for parents to grow and to just be excited, to have your little ones grow with them. And yeah, always be your kid's best advocate. You have that power and that beautiful connection with them. So never be afraid to look for those resources for your kids.
Sage advice. I love it. Nayeli?
No, just thank you for having us here. We're very excited to share our journey with everybody. And we're just looking forward to all the wonderful materials that we will be creating to provide to our community, especially to our parents. Like I said, I worked as a home educator, working one-on-one with the parents. And I wish I could go back to those homes and provide all these resources now that we have them available. So yes, I look forward to promoting this to our community and helping our little ones grow and thrive and to be successful and to dream big. That's the biggest thing. Dream big. When I'm in the classroom, you can do anything you want. And I just want to, communicate that through our company and through our social media to just motivate them to dream, to be a president, whether you're a boy or a girl, a person of color. You have all these dreams. You just have to work very hard, and we're here to provide those resources.
I love it. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to ask you some just more on the personal questions before we wrap up. So throughout your journey, which one of you would you say was the one that was like, let's get this done?
I want to say Nidia. Nidia, especially right now with investing, she's taking on us into this journey of investing. So she's like, don't forget to invest, even if it's $10. Always don't forget to invest. So Nidia, she's the one that's like, okay, let's get going. Let's grow together. So definitely Nidia.
Nidia, do you agree?
Yes, I agree. I was the first one in our family to move to the state. I was the first one to get my master's degree. I was the first one to venture out and travel alone. And I wanted with this company, I was the one to spearhead it and get the business plan going and get our company running. So yes, learning about building a company was essential for me. So yes, I agree. I'm the
okay
as the little one, but yeah.
So who was the one that stressed out the most?
The stresses out the most, I would say Nayeli, just because she likes, if we have a schedule, let's follow the schedule. Let's not deviate. But I think that's good because it keeps us on track. Where me and Nidia, like, oh, I have this big idea. Let's let's incorporate it, even though we have like 10 million things to do. But it's like, okay, one more thing that we can do. I think we can do it. And so Nayeli, she's good about keeping us on track. She's good about giving a schedule. So she'll, whatever ideas we'll give out, she'll put it in a schedule. And she's like, okay, let's follow this. Let's make sure we accomplish it. And so she keeps us on track. So if we deviate from that plan, she stresses a little bit, but I think it's a good kind of stress because she wants to see us succeed. But yeah, definitely her.
And then she's like our mom. She's our second mom. So she has that mom role in her company.
I'm not surprised because she's the oldest, right?
Yes.
I can relate. All right. So Nidia and Nayeli, how would you describe Nadia during this whole journey?
She's a dreamer.
Dreamer?
Yes, she dreams big. We have a lot on our plate, but she keeps us motivated. She's a big dreamer. She wants us to think big, think abundantly. She doesn't want us to have that limited mindset. And yes, she's a dreamer.
Man, this is the perfect team. Do you realize that?
I hope so.
Yes.
Yeah. This is beautiful because, you cannot fail. You have three very good people with all of your strengths. I can see why you made this happen and why you're publishing another book. So I can't wait to see 5 years from now what you all have done. I'm definitely going to be staying in touch, following your journey.
Thank you so much.
Ladies, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for your dedication, your heart, for what you're doing for our community. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Same to you. And we're happy to connect with you and to see you grow as well, because I think you have such an amazing platform and something that we don't see in Latino, especially in our Latino community. So we're really excited and rooting for you along the way as well.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
I just loved having that conversation with these three amazing ladies. I hope that you're able to support them. And please, by all means, check out Little Dreamers Publishing on Instagram. Click on that link in their bio and you're going to see a ton of resources. One of the things that they did not mention is, the reason why they have these activities is because those activities reinforce the things that kids are taught. So if you are able to do that at home, you're going to see a huge difference in not just the intelligence of your child, but also the interest. And if you start off that habit at a very young age, then you'll always have a child with curiosity and with that love of learning. If you like this episode, please subscribe to our channel, either if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to a podcast, and turn on those notifications so that you don't miss another episode. And furthermore, if you want to have more insights or other resources delivered right into your mailbox, please come on over to Dalitalks.com and subscribe to our newsletter. All right, I hope that you have an amazing day and we'll see you next time.